Hello, my name is Kara Keem, and I am a psychotherapist who specializes in working with highly sensitive people. So I want to get on here and talk about that. What does that even mean to be a highly sensitive person? Who are highly sensitive people? There's a lot of misinformation out there. So I just want to share everything I've learned and really educate you all about what it means to be a highly sensitive person in the world. So all of the information that I have learned comes from Elaine Aron, who has her PhD in psychology. She coined the term the highly sensitive person, and she has done all of the research. So my in-depth study in her world has taught me what I know and what I'm going to share with you. So highly sensitive people were born this way. We did not develop sensitivities as a response to trauma or to trying to scan our environments as young children. I've heard a lot of that. That's not actually true. We came with a sensory processing sensitivity. So we were actually born with this sensory processing sensitivity. And we have brains that are unique in their brain structure. So I'll get into that. We were born with these brains, which means they cannot be changed. They cannot be medicated away. They cannot, we can be worked with, but we can't change it. We're actually born with a very specific brain structure. That is why we are receiving so much input. So this sensory processing sensitivity can be described by the acronym DOES, okay? So D is depth of processing. So our brains are uniquely wired in a way that we have enhanced perception. So everything we perceive is enhanced. We are picking up on the littlest nuances in our environment. So there is much more depth in the amount of things that we are processing in any given day. So we notice these subtleties in environments. And I'll get into that with the stimuli awareness. Okay. So that is just part of how we came, and brain scans have revealed this. So we have a depth of processing that is unique to us. HSPs are only 15 to 20% of the population. So that means that 80% of people in the world have no idea what we're talking about. We're really unsure of our unique experience in the world. And that's okay. It just requires a lot of education. Okay. The O in DOES is overstimulation. Here's the interesting thing about HSPs. We are the population most prone to anxiety. So we are the most anxious population out there. We are not anxious because of our brain chemistry. We don't have the wiring in our brain chemistry that's causing the anxiety. So a lot of HSPs, if you're on medication, that is fine if it's helping you. And what's also true is that's not actually why you're anxious. We are anxious because our nervous system is constantly taking in too much input. So this overstimulation piece is frying our nervous system, and that is actually what's causing the anxiety. So we take in more sensory information than the non-HSPs. And so that really leads to a lot of our anxiety. There are a few other factors of why we have anxiety, but it's not about our brain chemistry and our brain wiring. It is about the stimulation that our nervous system is taking in. When the world is very sensitive, when the world is very stimulating and we are very sensitive, we are constantly taking in too much input. And it's really hard for our bodies to process that input. It's very, very challenging. Okay. And so that does lead to a lot of health problems. HSPs are more likely to have autoimmune disease, allergies, anxiety, and a lot of these things because our nervous system is frequently overwhelmed. The research shows that we need at least 2 hours every single day of non-stimulation to reset our nervous system. And I will tell you that when I do this for myself, my anxiety and my health problems go away. They really do. They just dissipate. They disappear because I'm actually giving my nervous system what it needs to thrive, what it needs to be soothed. All right. So the E in DOES stands for emotional responsiveness. Here's the other reason we have anxiety. We were born with more mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are what are firing in an experience. So the joy is really heightened. The anger is really heightened. The sadness is really heightened. Take any experience, and 80% of the population has some neurons firing, mirror neurons firing when they are experiencing it. We have so many more mirror neurons in our brain. Can't change that, can't medicate that. That everything for us is on steroids. It is heightened. It is bigger. We are actually feeling the depth of it in a bigger way than the other people. So what does this mean? This does mean that we may be more prone to trauma because the experiences are really intense for us in life. And trauma is whenever resiliency has been suspended. So here's the deal. 2 people can have the exact same experience and be in the exact same event. One person walks away, no trauma. The other walks away traumatized. Their resiliency was suspended in that moment, in that event. And for HSPs, since it's heightened for us, oftentimes we may be prone to trauma. We are also prone to vicarious trauma because we tend to over-identify with the experience of others. We are that sensitive that we are feeling your pain so deeply. We are feeling your joy so deeply. We are feeling everything that you are feeling so deeply. So we are prone to vicarious trauma because we're over-identifying, because those mirror neurons are taking in more input, more of the intensity of the situation than people who don't have those extra mirror neurons. That also leads to anxiety because it's like, every experience is heightened. We were born that way. It is not a brain chemistry thing. Cannot change that. Nothing is wrong with us. Nothing is wrong with us. This trait has been found in over 100 species biologically. Birds, animals. This trait is in other species as well. So nothing is wrong with us. But think about the tribal days, okay? We're more likely to be the medicine women, the elders in the village who are sharing knowledge, sharing information. We're not going to be the warriors on the front lines. We are not wired for that. Okay, so emotional responsiveness. And then the S is stimuli awareness. We feel all of the stimuli around us, all of it. So we notice the subtleties and perceptual differences. And I give this example. I had a birthday and I had a bunch of ladies over. And I knew all at the same time. I could tell one person was over there needing a cup for a glass of water. One person was trying to give me my gift. Somebody else was looking at the to find the bathroom. They needed to go to the restroom. And somebody else was trying to say goodbye to me to leave. And I could see all of these things happening all at the same time. And I didn't know where to start. And I wasn't sure which one to help or address first. That is what we are dealing with all day long. And so the thing about HSPs, which is beautiful, we are natural born helpers. We love to help. Lots of nurses, social workers, teachers. What is happening in those environments? So much stimulation. So even though we want to be those helpers, those environments are typically super intense for us and really hard on our nervous system. So a lot of us end up fried and burnt out just because of the nature of those environments, even though we're most drawn and most called there. So I just want to recap. HSPs were born this way. The research has revealed in brain scans that we were born with a sensory processing sensitivity. Okay. You cannot change this and you cannot medicate it away. And the acronym is DOES. Okay. We have a depth of processing that the non-HSPs don't have. Overstimulation, so much input all the time. Really intense on the nervous system. E, emotional responsiveness. We have those extra mirror neurons. We over-identify with our own feelings and the feelings of others. And then the S is stimuli awareness. So that is what makes us who we are. We came this way. We will always be this way. We cannot medicate this away. We cannot will it away. We cannot change it. But what we can do is learn to live with their sensitivities and the nuances of our nervous system that 80% of the population don't have. So once we start regulating our nervous system, once we start giving our bodies what we need, it's a completely different life experience. And I'm telling you, when I started living in a way that honored my body and my sensitivities and my HSP-ness about me, my health problems went away and my anxiety went away. A lot of clients come to me misdiagnosed with bipolar, hypomania, mania, and even borderline personality disorder. Think about it. When the world is that stimulating, a lot of times we do get frenetic and we're swirling and we're spinning and we're not even in our bodies because the world is so stimulating, we leave our bodies, okay? That can easily look like mania. What happens after we've been spinning and swirling? There's a crash. There has to be. Our nervous systems eventually crash. So I have a quiz to find out if you're a highly sensitive person. If you think you might be, I'll leave a link here. Please take the quiz. The other thing is, if you have been diagnosed and placed on medication, I always ask, please take this quiz. And then what were the events leading up to your diagnosis? Every single time for my clients, I can't speak for everybody, but for my clients, it has been that there were months, weeks of overstimulation, a lot of overstimulation, and they eventually crashed. And for people who don't know about what an HSP is, it can look like that. Being an HSP is not a diagnosable disorder. There's actually nothing wrong with us. We just have to learn to live in our bodies and live with the subtleties of our system because we are constantly taking in everything in the world that other people aren't. So I do think we are the population most prone to be misdiagnosed. And my mission on earth, why I'm here, is to help the HSPs, to let you know nothing is wrong with you, and to educate mental health professionals to not misdiagnose and medicate right away. If the medication is working for you, great, but it's not actually changing why your system is anxious. It will change your brain chemistry. It will, but it's not going to change your nervous system. And that's actually why you are experiencing anxiety as an HSP. So thank you for watching. I would love to connect with you. My name is Kara, K-A-R-A, Keim, K-I-H-M. And my website is Kara Keim, KARA-KIHM.com. Take my HSP quiz, and I also offer the Highly Sensitive Person's Hero's Journey. We have to go on a hero's journey to learn to live in these bodies with our sensitivities. So if that is you, check out my website and look at the hero's journey for HSPs. And I hope that this did help bring some awareness and some education. Lots of love to y'all. You are not alone. I am one of you. And together we can really learn to bring peace and balance into our lives through nervous system regulation and working with these sensitive systems that we were born with. All right. Much love. Mwah.